In a world increasingly polarized by differing ideologies, the recent televised debate featuring Melania Trump and a prominent feminist host captivated viewers and sparked widespread conversation. The event, held in a popular primetime slot, centered on women's choices and the often contentious dialogue surrounding them. This high-profile interaction was more than just a discussion. It was a battleground for contrasting views on femininity, success, and personal agency, set against the backdrop of an election year heated by societal debates. The forum aimed to explore what it means to be a woman in today's world. Melania Trump, the former First Lady, entered the conversation with an air of confidence that resonated well with segments of the audience. Clad in an elegant outfit that blended fashion with class, she embodied a figure who had long navigated the complexities of public life while maintaining her own identity amid scrutiny. The feminist host, known for her sharp rhetoric and relentless pursuit of questioning traditional roles assigned to women, quickly became the focal point of the evening. She detailed her perspectives on empowerment. She challenged Melania's choices as outdated or submissive. The host's pointed question suggested that Melania's path as a mother, wife, and businesswoman proclaimed surrendering to societal expectations rather than embracing true empowerment. Viewers tuned in from their living rooms. The atmosphere crackled with tension. Some audience members visibly shifted in their seats, reflecting both anticipation and concern about how this clash would unfold. It was evident that this debate was not merely about two individuals. It represented larger struggles within society regarding women's autonomy and the choices they make within varying cultural contexts. The significance of this exchange extended beyond personal opinions. It highlighted the ongoing discourse surrounding feminism. This particular moment in television history revealed an undeniable truth. Women themselves have diverse interpretations of empowerment and success. For some, walking the path of traditional motherhood or supporting a partner's career can be equally valid as striving for personal achievements in professions traditionally dominated by men. That Melania's presence alone brought layers of complexity to this discussion. As a woman who had walked through the gilded halls of power, yet maintained her distinctiveness, she stood as a testament to multifaceted female identities. Her approach was rooted not just in her experience but also in resilience, the ability to face critique while remaining steadfast in her beliefs. The dialogue took a pivotal turn when Melania began to articulate her stance. Drawing upon anecdote from her life before entering into the political arena, she painted a picture of her upbringing and ambitions. Her background in Slovenia influenced her values regarding family and hard work, an angle she framed as a source of empowerment rather than submission. She spoke passionately about motherhood being an essential aspect of her identity. Some listeners found themselves nodding in agreement, while others squirmed at their discomfort with her standpoint. This event underscored an essential question: who gets to define empowerment? The audience found themselves divided. Some staunchly sided with Melania's perspective, believing that every woman should have the freedom to forge her path without facing judgment for it. Others echoed the feminist host sentiments that women ought to challenge conventional roles if they truly wanted equality. Both women exchanged views on stage. Their verbal sparring echoed through living rooms nationwide. Social media buzzed eruptions of support or disdain with hashtags that trended instantly, sparking virtual debates mirroring the live forum's contentious spirit. Those passionately backing Melania championed her as a voice for women who choose what works best for them, without being labeled anti-feminist or passive. Onlookers were further drawn into this critical moment in dialogue because it showcased something many believed was necessary: honest conversations about women's choices without vilifying opposing viewpoints. Each woman represented facets of contemporary feminism, while Melania offered a portrayal rooted in choice and acceptance of traditional paths. The host pushed for redefining norms and breaking barriers. For many viewers, this confrontation was not just another cable news spectacle, but an opportunity to reflect on their beliefs about femininity. IT posed questions that lingered long after the broadcast ended, challenging audiences to reconsider what it truly means to empower women today. as applause erupted at various moments throughout their exchange, particularly during Melania's assertive refutations. It became clear that an electrifying dynamic had taken hold of those present. They witnessed not just rhetoric, but passionate advocacy for very personal interpretations of womanhood unfolding right before them. In essence, this event served as a microcosm of today's socio-political climate, a reminder that no singular narrative should dominate discussions about women's choices. As it wrapped up and viewers tuned out, they were left pondering how such conversations would shape future dialogues around gender roles and women's empowerment across cultural landscapes in America and beyond. The impact of Melania Trump's confrontation with a feminist icon was poised to resonate far beyond the stage. It was only just beginning. The buzz in the air was palpable as the audience gathered for the highly anticipated televised forum that a mix of enthusiasts and skeptics filled the seats, with bright lights illuminating the stage where two powerful figures would soon engage in a battle of words. The venue itself was an iconic setting known for hosting transformative discussions. Elegant decor and modern technology set the tone for a night that promised not only drama, but also revelations about femininity and empowerment. AS guests checked their phones or whispered among themselves. It became clear that this was no ordinary broadcast. People from various demographic backgrounds arrived, young professionals adorned in stylish attire, middle-aged mothers bringing their teenage daughters, and older generations who carried a wealth of experience and stories about traditional roles. The diversity of the audience mirrored the complexity of the topics to be discussed, suggesting that everyone came equipped with unique perspectives and expectations. Anticipation filled the room as attendees watched the clock tick down to the start of the event. Many had tuned in to Melania Trump's journey over the years, from her role as First Lady to her initiatives around children and advocacy for foster care. Others were anxious to hear the feminist host's firmly established viewpoints on women's rights, which often challenge conventional narratives. This duality created a fertile ground for interesting reactions as everyone settled into their seats. Before the debate commenced, a subtle tension crackled throughout the venue. Excited murmurs indicated that some members of the audience were aligned with Melania's approach to femininity and family values, while others eagerly awaited the feminist host's critical perspective on traditional gender roles. As a highlight reel played behind the hosts, showcasing moments from both women's public lives. The audience clapped at familiar footage that evoked both admiration and skepticism. When the host finally made her entrance, she was met with mixed reactions. Enthusiastic applause from supporters wielded signs championing her brand of feminism contrasted sharply with those who shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Dressed in a chic ensemble that emphasized professionalism, she radiated confidence as she prepared to offer her critiques. Her reputation for incisive questioning preceded her, and it was evident that many in the audience felt excited to see how she would challenge Melania's expectations around femininity. Moments later, Melania entered with elegance that defined her personal style, clad in a sleek dress. Reflecting her European roots melded with American charm, she exuded an aura of composure amidst such a fierce atmosphere. As she made her way to the stage, some audience members erupted into applause, celebrating her resilience against constant public scrutiny throughout her life. Others remained pointedly silent, choosing instead to wait for her verbal prowess in response to anticipated queries. The ambience escalated as cameras captured moments of audience engagement. People leaned forward in anticipation, holding their breath as if sensing they were on the precipice of something significant. The presence of a live studio audience added an electric feeling. Every sigh, cheer, and gasp echoed throughout the venue, as two contrasting ideologies were about to collide under heated lights, as both participants took their positions on stage. Initial introductions painted each woman as emblematic representatives of their respective camps. Melania portrayed a narrative grounded in personal choice and traditional values, while the feminist host offered a critique rooted in redefining societal norms regarding women's roles. Despite past tensions surrounding Melania's choices, some viewing her as emblematic of regressive values, while others celebrated her representation of choice. There was an unmistakable sense of mutual respect present. Each woman carried herself with poise, ready to articulate visions shaped by distinctly different life experiences that a quick glance across the crowd revealed how polarized opinions could be even before a word was spoken. Groups of friends huddled together whispering opinions, while families seemed intent on processing how narratives might be reframed before their eyes. As viewers anticipated challenging exchanges ahead, social media platforms buzzed with excitement. Hashtags burst forth like fireworks prior to an event anticipated for months. What had begun as mere curiosity rapidly evolved into something deeper. Feelings among spectators range from exhilarated hopefulness about seeing representation debated live, to apprehension regarding sensitivities tied to gender discussions that can evoke strong emotions. The ensuing dialogue would grapple with core questions around autonomy and societal expectation, a quest for understanding among seemingly irreconcilable viewpoints. With this vibrant atmosphere set against them, Melania Trump and the feminist host were poised for a dialogue destined to resonate far beyond that evening's broadcast. That it was evident that irrespective of eventual conclusions drawn from their exchanges, much was at stake within these discussions about women's choices and identities, providing answers, or at least provoking further inquiry, in what it meant to be a woman today. The lights dimmed for a moment as anticipation hung thick in the air. The stage was set for an unforgettable confrontation of ideas that would reverberate well beyond its time slot on dash screen. As the debate unfolded, the feminist host seized a moment to launch into a well-crafted critique of traditional gender roles, positioning herself as a vocal advocate for what she termed true empowerment. With an engaging presence and sharp rhetoric, she aimed her comments squarely at Melania Trump's choices, often citing them as emblematic of outdated societal norms that continue to limit women's potential. The host opened with a powerful statement about the persistent inequalities faced by women in various facets of life, arguing that societal expectations have historically stifled female ambition. She challenged the notion that a woman's worth is tied solely to her roles as a mother or wife, suggesting that this belief perpetuates a cycle of dependence rather than fostering independence and self-actualization. Empowerment should not be seen as merely adhering to traditional roles. It must encompass a broader spectrum where women can thrive in all capacities, professionally, socially, and personally, she asserted. Turning her attention directly to Melania, the host pointedly referenced Melania's public persona and choices during her time as First Lady. "You've stood as a symbol of fashion and grace," she said, emphasizing the accolades Melania received in those areas. However, she quickly pivoted to question whether such accolades overshadowed more meaningful contributions women could make in society. Isn't it time we move past appearances and embrace actions that truly uplift our communities? This tactical shift in questioning aimed to provoke thought about how Melania's image could be perceived as reinforcing conventional femininity that some believe undermines progressive ideals. The host continued. Her criticism sharpened, addressing Melania's decisions regarding family life and her role in supporting her husband's political career. "Your choice to step back into the realm of domesticity is commendable on one hand, but it begs the question, how does it inspire others who may wish to pursue careers outside traditional norms?" The audience responded with mixed reactions, some nodding in agreement, while others murmured discontent, showcasing the divide between those who align with traditional views of womanhood versus those advocating for broader definitions. The feminist host pressed on, invoking statistics around women's representation in leadership positions in labor markets to bolster her argument. She claimed that while Melania's path is valid for some women, it doesn't reflect the aspirations of many who seek equality across all sectors. By remaining silent on critical issues affecting women's rights and only embracing specific roles, are you not contributing to a narrative that keeps many women from realizing their full potential? This pointed inquiry hung heavily in the air as Melania listened intently. As she continued her critique, the host highlighted instances where women who defy societal expectations, such as leaders in business or politics, are often dismissed or overlooked. Every time we celebrate only one version of success, a version rooted in tradition, we risk silencing voices advocating for change. She stated passionately. This argument resonated deeply with parts of the audience who had come seeking affirmation of their beliefs about gender equality and empowerment. The conversation took on an additional layer when the host mentioned influential female figures who had transcended traditional boundaries. She skillfully juxtaposed Melania's decisions with other notable women's achievements, pointing out how these trailblazers had redefined what it means to be empowered today. This comparison served as a tactic not just to critique Melania, but also to elevate alternative narratives that challenge existing structures in moments where tension peaked between them. The host maintained eye contact with both Melania and the audience, effectively drawing people into her fervor for change. Her arguments weren't merely personal attacks, but rather calls to action for all women watching. Each comment was crafted not only to provoke thought, but also aimed at igniting passion for an evolving feminist movement focused on as she concluded her initial remarks. There was an air of expectation among spectators. They sensed the impending clash between two contrasting ideologies that were about to unfold further. "I don't question your experience or your choice," she finally stated with a tone balanced between respect and challenge. "But I do challenge you, and every woman, to reconsider what opportunity looks like beyond tradition." With this powerful summation hanging in the air like an electric charge ready to spark debate, many found themselves eagerly anticipating Melania's response. The fervent energy pulsing through the audience reflected their readiness for engagement, a desire not just for entertainment, but for meaningful discourse surrounding complex issues tied to gender roles and societal expectations. Thus, what started as a straightforward critique evolved into a profound exploration of identity. It invited everyone present, as well as viewers at home, to reflect on their beliefs around empowerment while acknowledging the multifaceted nature of womanhood today. The stage was now set not only for Melania's retort, but also for an exploration into how each woman's journey contributes uniquely to an ever-evolving narrative about what it means to be successful and empowered as a woman in contemporary society. As the feminist host finished her pointed critique, a charged atmosphere filled the room as all eyes turned to Melania Trump. Calm yet poised, she took a moment to collect her thoughts before responding, fully aware that this was not just a personal defense, but a broader conversation about women's choices and agency. With a steady voice and unwavering composure, Melania began to articulate her perspective on empowerment and the value of personal choice. "I appreciate your passion for empowerment," she started, addressing the host directly. "However, I must clarify that every woman's journey is unique, and why choices may differ from yours, but they are nevertheless valid." This assertion resonated with parts of the audience who appreciated her acknowledgement that diverse paths exist within the discourse surrounding femininity. Melania then dove deeper into her rationale behind embracing traditional roles, explaining how her upbringing shaped her values regarding family and motherhood. "I grew up in Slovenia, where family meant everything to us. I learned early on that being a supportive wife and mother does not equate to being less empowered," she said earnestly. This statement served both as context for her choices and as an assertion of their value, a reminder that empowerment could take many forms. With each word, Melania maintained eye contact with both the host and the audience, effectively drawing in listeners who might initially have been skeptical of her narrative. She continued by elaborating on the significance of personal agency. Empowerment is about the freedom to choose paths that align with one's values, not just conforming to a singular definition dictated by society. Her tone was measured yet passionate, striking a balance between asserting herself and inviting dialogue. In response to the host's earlier comments about her role during Donald Trump's presidency, Melania acknowledged that stepping into the public eye came with challenges. "Yes, I chose to support my husband during his campaign and presidency, but I did so because I believed in him and wanted to contribute positively. She explained, "That choice does not negate my own ambitions or diminish my validity as a woman." The audience erupted into applause at this declaration, reflecting their appreciation for her unapologetic affirmation of personal choice. Yes, she continued, Melania addressed the idea of redefining success based solely on societal standards. Success means different things to different people, she asserted firmly. For some women like myself, nurturing our families while pursuing our passions is precisely how we find fulfillment. Here was another moment where she connected deeply with segments of the audience. Many nodded in agreement with her emphasis on individual definitions of success. Melania also touched upon the topic of representation in leadership roles, essentially echoing some sentiments from earlier in the debate, but flipping them into a more nuanced discussion about how women can thrive in various capacities without adhering strictly to one path. Women should be celebrated for choosing their own goals, whether they want to lead corporations or dedicate themselves fully to raising children, she stated emphatically. This widening lens shifted some perspectives in the room. It became clear that while opinions varied widely among attendees, there was common ground around valuing diverse journeys. The conversation took another turn when Melania addressed criticism she had faced over public perceptions of femininity and appearance. Drawing from personal experiences muddied by media portrayals, she remarked, "I have often been reduced to my looks alone rather than recognized for who I am, a hardworking mother and businesswoman." The audience's reaction intensified. There were gasps mixed with supportive cheers at this poignant recognition of identity beyond superficial judgments. Towards the conclusion of her response, Melania delivered what felt like a rallying call, one that aimed not only at defending herself, but also encouraging other women present. Let us empower each other by celebrating choices rather than criticizing them, that we are stronger when we uplift one another regardless of differing opinions about our paths. With this statement resonating throughout the venue like an anthem for solidarity among women, many felt inspired amidst what had initially appeared contentious. Her calm demeanor throughout the debate showed remarkable resilience, a quality that further solidified support among those who had perhaps entered uncertain about which side they aligned with more closely beforehand. WY encouraging collective respect for individual choices while asserting her own narrative with confidence, Melania transformed what could have been merely reactive defenses into an invigorating dialogue about identity and empowerment. AS applause crescendoed following her remarks, a blend of admiration and fervent agreement. The stage seemed set for further exchanges between both women involved in this dynamic discussion. It was clear that Melania's response would leave an indelible impression on viewers at home as well as those present, an authentic embodiment of navigating complexities inherent in discussions surrounding gender roles today, while boldly asserting personal agency amid scrutiny. In essence, Melania Trump's reply served not only as rebuttal, but also as an invitation for deeper reflection on women's multifaceted identities within evolving societal frameworks. A message many hoped would resonate long after this notable evening's broadcast concluded. AS excitement filled every corner of the venue again. Anticipation built toward what might come next. A continuing exploration into contrasting perspectives that promised rich discourse far beyond simple binaries defined by tradition or expectation alone. AS Melania Trump and the feminist host exchanged their compelling viewpoints. The audience's reactions became a dynamic backdrop to the debate, reflecting the charged atmosphere that enveloped the forum. From the outset, it was clear that those gathered were deeply engaged with the topics being discussed, their responses ranging from enthusiastic support to critical dissent. During the feminist host critique of traditional gender roles, many audience members leaned forward in their seats, nodding along as she articulated her points about empowerment and societal expectations. Her passionate rhetoric inspired bursts of applause from sections of the crowd who resonated with her call for broader definitions of success. Signs supporting women's rights waved in unison, amplifying the excitement and solidarity felt among her supporters. Yet, there were also murmurs of discontent from others who did not share her views, demonstrating an immediate divide within the audience. When Melania took the stage to respond, a palpable shift occurred. Her calm and assertive demeanor captivated those who had come in support of her perspective on femininity and personal choice. The moment she asserted that every woman's journey is unique, a wave of cheers erupted from her supporters, echoing through the venue. Many raised their hands in approval, while others stood to give her a standing ovation as she spoke about embracing traditional roles without shame or apology. This display of enthusiasm highlighted how strongly some viewers felt about validating differing paths women may take. As Melania continued, she touched upon her upbringing and values regarding family, prompting a nuanced response from the audience, but a mix of emotional reactions emerged. Some attendees teared up as they connected with her narrative about family values and personal fulfillment that, on the other hand, dissenting voices interjected sporadically, some questioning whether her choices truly reflected empowerment or merely reinforced traditional norms. These contrasting reactions underscore the complexity of navigating such discussions around gender roles. The tension in the room became evident during moments when Melania directly addressed criticisms regarding her public persona and appearance. Yes, she spoke candidly about being reduced to superficial judgments. Gasps filled the air. Many audience members empathized with her plight, while others remained skeptical, crossing their arms in contemplation. This divergence illustrated how personal experiences could evoke varied interpretations about identity and self-worth. The significant applause following Melania's remarks about redefining success further showcased where allegiances lay within the crowd. Many viewers rallied behind her assertion that nurturing family while pursuing passions is equally valid. Loud cheers erupted as she called for women to uplift one another rather than criticize differing choices. That it was almost as if an invisible thread connected those who believed in solidarity among women, an atmosphere ripe for discussion about agency rather than division. Yet even amid supportive cheers, there were dissenters who voiced their opinions through interjections that sometimes interrupted Melania's flow. Each time, someone expressed disagreement, whether through vocal protests or shaking heads. It illustrated how charged the discourse had become. These moments punctuated the evening with an intensity that few anticipated. They emphasized that while some found power in embracing traditional roles, others adamantly sought changes to what empowerment should look like for women today. A.S. Melania concluded her remarks with a rallying call for solidarity among women. Applause erupted once more. A blend of admiration and fervent agreement filled the air. The audience seemed transformed. Many who had entered uncertain now felt invigorated by this exchange of ideas. Some stood clapping enthusiastically while others echoed sentiments demanding respect for individual choices regardless of differing opinions on women's paths. The engagement did not dissipate as both women prepared for follow-up exchanges. Instead, it evolved into an eager anticipation for how each would respond next. The palpable energy in the room reflected not only adherence to individual viewpoints, but also a collective desire for deeper understanding, a yearning to explore complexities tied to gender identity beyond simplistic definitions. That as social media buzzed outside the venue, with hashtags trending in real time, showing overwhelming support for both women. Those present felt part of something larger than themselves. A vibrant discourse challenging societal norms surrounding femininity and empowerment. That it was clear that this debate resonated well beyond its immediate setting. Attendees knew they were witnessing history unfold before them. In essence, audience reactions served as an illuminating lens into how dialogues surrounding women's choices can reveal broader societal reflections, both celebratory and critical. The exchange between Melania Trump and the Feminist host ignited passion among spectators while simultaneously prompting introspection about what empowerment truly means today. A.S. applause mixed with thoughtful dissent continued to reverberate throughout the venue long after final remarks were delivered. One thing remained certain. This dialogue would linger in minds and hearts alike long after cameras stopped rolling, a testament to its significance in shaping conversations around womanhood. Moving forward, as the debate progressed, it became increasingly evident that the themes of empowerment, autonomy, and the definition of success were central to the discussion between Melania Trump and the feminist host. Each participant's stance not only represented personal narratives, but also echoed larger societal debates about what empowerment truly means for women in today's world. The feminist host, with her critique of traditional gender roles, sought to redefine empowerment in contemporary terms. For her, true empowerment extended beyond societal expectations related to motherhood and domesticity. It challenged women to pursue professional achievements while advocating for broader recognition across all sectors. She argued that success should not be equated solely with conforming to historical narratives, but rather encompass a spectrum of possibilities. Empowerment should mean having the ability to craft one's own path, irrespective of previous standards or norms. This perspective aimed to dismantle perceived limitations that many women still grapple with today. Conversely, Melania Trump's response shifted the narrative toward the celebration of choice as a form of empowerment in its own right. Emphasizing her belief that nurturing family ties and pursuing personal passions are equally significant aspects of fulfillment. She reframed empowerment not as strictly defined by societal expectations, but as a reflection of individual values and priorities. Her assertions resonated profoundly with those who felt similarly positioned by their own life choices. She showcased that being a supportive wife and mother can indeed coexist with ambition and identity outside public perception. Throughout the exchange, the tension between these differing definitions illuminated an evolving understanding of what it means to be empowered. On one hand, there was a strong push from the host encouraging women to seek roles beyond traditional confines, insisting that true liberation lies in breaking barriers that have historically oppressed female potential. On the other hand, Melania represented a narrative where those very traditional roles can also serve as spaces for empowerment when embraced authentically. The audience's reactions further highlighted how multifaceted these themes are within society today. Supporters of both women found something relatable in their points. While many applauded Melania's defense of traditional values, they simultaneously cheered for the call to action made by the feminist host. The interaction between different views embodied essential conversations around autonomy. Who gets to say what empowerment looks like? Whose definitions are valid? Melania's defense of her life choices also tapped into themes of self-identity declaratively overshadowed by media narratives. She articulated how often successful women are reduced to stereotypes about their appearance or roles rather than celebrated for their contributions. "I am more than just looks. I'm a dedicated mother and businesswoman," she firmly asserted, drawing applause from parts of the audience who resonated with her experiences battling societal judgments over identities shaped primarily through the lens of femininity. In juxtaposition, the feminist host maintained that every woman should actively claim her narrative, rejecting imposed definitions from external sources and instead building lives that reflect internal convictions. She insisted that there should be continuous questioning about societal norms, to find freedom beyond designated boxes drawn by tradition or expectation. This powerful juxtaposition portrayed women navigating life's complexities through various prisms of choice. A constant reaffirmation that one form of success does not diminish another. As conversations around empowerment evolved throughout their exchange, future implications for discussions on gender roles brought additional dimension to the dialogue. The importance placed on diversity within women's identities challenged attendees, not just within their own lives, but as part of a collective narrative shaping future generations. It illustrated how women's voices continue to emerge in non-traditional spaces, how redefining success collectively can inspire future leaders while rejecting limitations historically placed upon them. Ultimately, both perspectives offered insights into how complex and layered female empowerment is in contemporary discourse. Themes of autonomy resonated deeply in this debate. They underscored an urgent call for an expansive understanding, one that honors every woman's right to choose how she wants to express herself without judgment or constraint. The discussion served as a reminder that conversations about womanhood cannot be confined merely to binaries. They must recognize varied journeys towards self-definition and fulfillment. Melania Trump and the feminist host concluded their exchange amid enthusiastic applause and earnest discussions still brewing among attendees. It was clear they had ignited something profound amongst those listening, a shared realization that every path offers opportunities for strength and significance. This vibrant dialogue unfolded, live before audiences at home and in person alike. It held powerful implications not only for how femininity is perceived, but also how conversations surrounding success could evolve moving forward. Aspects critical to shaping identities continuously grappling with changing societal landscapes in relation to women's roles everywhere. In the wake of the highly publicized debate between Melania Trump and the feminist host, the media response was swift and multifaceted, reflecting a spectrum of opinions on the contentious issues surrounding women's empowerment and societal roles. Various outlets scrambled to cover the event, producing headlines that captured the essence of the debate while also framing it within broader cultural conversations. Prominent news networks showcased their interpretations through headlines designed to evoke strong reactions. For instance, a leading newspaper declared, "Melania Trump stands firm in defense of traditional roles," suggesting a sense of nostalgia intertwined with her arguments, while another outlet opted for a more provocative angle. Feminist host challenges Melania, a battle over modern feminism. This juxtaposition highlighted how differing editorial perspectives aim to engage readers in discussions about female identity and empowerment. Social media platforms became buzzing arenas for commentary almost instantaneously after the broadcast ended. Twitter threads exploded with hashtags such as hashtag Melania Trump and hashtag feminism debate, allowing users to share their thoughts in real time. Supporters of Melania praised her composure and articulate defense of personal choice, with tweets celebrating her stance garnering thousands of likes. One popular tweet read, "Melania is proof that being a mother is powerful. Let's honor all paths women take." This sentiment resonated strongly among those who felt that traditional roles could coexist seamlessly with modern ambitions. Conversely, the feminist host supporters were equally vocal online. Many expressed frustration with Melania's defense of conventionality, using platforms like Instagram and TikTok to share clips from the debate paired with critical analysis. Posts calling for redefining success beyond domestic roles proliferated, pushing back against Melania's assertions. It's time to break free from these outdated ideas of what women should be. One notable influencer remarked in a widely shared video critiquing Melania's views. The nuanced reactions across social media showcased the polarized nature of contemporary feminist discourse. Commentators noted that while some applauded Melania's emphasis on personal agency and choice, others viewed it as a reinforcement of traditional gender norms that have historically limited women's potential. News segments analyzing viewer responses unveiled this dichotomy further. Polls indicated that roughly 50% of viewers felt aligned with Melania's perspective, while the other half supported the feminist host's call for change. Opinion pieces emerged from various commentators across digital platforms, each interpreting the debate through different lenses. Some heralded Melania's calm demeanor as an example for women who may feel pressured to conform to aggressive forms of feminism. They argued that her approach provided a necessary counterbalance within ongoing discussions about feminine identity. Others characterized her defense as an endorsement of complacency in the face of progress, a warning against accepting narrow definitions of success based solely on historical contexts. Additionally, television talk shows dedicated segments to dissecting pivotal moments from the debate that elicited strong emotional responses from viewers. They highlighted how both women represented different yet compelling narratives. Regarding empowerment, AS analysts reflected on key exchanges during the debate. They emphasized how societal expectations around femininity continue to shape perceptions today, prompting deeper conversations about what empowerment looks like across diverse experiences. Local community forums began organizing discussions inspired by the debate, indicating that it had struck a chord beyond just celebrity or political circles. Participants shared personal stories related to their choices as women, further enriching dialogues around agency and individuality. These grassroots movements underscored an eagerness among attendees to redefine norms collectively while validating diverse paths taken by women throughout society. Podcasts focusing on gender issues reported increased listenership following highlights from this debate being aired. Audiences eagerly engaged with episodes, analyzing both perspectives presented during the event, demonstrating a clear appetite for deeper exploration into topics surrounding female empowerment within various contexts. AS media coverage continued to unfold in subsequent days following the broadcast. Analysis expanded upon what this moment means within longer-standing movements advocating for women's rights and gender equality. Thought leaders began reflecting on how pivotal discussions like these can act as catalysts for transformation. The idea being that even within conflict lies potential for growth and understanding across divides. Overall, media coverage illuminated not only individual reactions, but also broader societal implications associated with this exchange. Each article published or tweet shared acted as a thread in an ever-expanding tapestry woven through contemporary discourse regarding femininity, a call toward recognizing multifaceted definitions existing harmoniously under singular themes adorned by rich narratives embedded in today's discussions about womanhood. As audiences reflected on their beliefs, shaped by this high-profile exchange between two formidable figures, it became increasingly clear that dialogues about women's roles cannot merely adhere to binaries. They must acknowledge varied journeys towards self-definition and fulfillment within complex socio-cultural landscapes moving forward. In essence, this debate would go down in history as a critical moment illustrating how far society has come and how far it still needs to go in understanding and embracing all dimensions of female empowerment in an ever-evolving world. In the aftermath of the televised debate between Melania Trump and the Feminist host, public opinion polls were conducted to gauge the reactions of viewers regarding the contrasting perspectives presented during the exchange. These polls provided valuable insights into how audiences interpreted the arguments made by both women and offered a snapshot of societal attitudes toward women's roles, empowerment, and definitions of success. The results of several polls indicated a nearly even split in public sentiment. One prominent survey revealed that approximately 52% of respondents supported Melania's stance, feeling that her defense of traditional roles resonated with their own beliefs about femininity and empowerment. Many cited her emphasis on personal choice as a valid perspective that honored the importance of family and nurturing in women's lives. Comment from supporters reflected a shared sentiment. Melania represents the idea that being a mother can be empowering. It's about choosing what works best for you. On the other side, around 48% of participants aligned more closely with the feminist host's views, which advocated for redefining empowerment beyond conventional expectations. This group argued that true liberation lies in rejecting outdated norms and pursuing professional achievements alongside personal aspirations. That a significant segment of this audience expressed frustration over what they perceived as Melania's reinforcement of traditional gender roles. Women should not be confined to domestic spheres. We need to break free from these limiting narratives, stated one respondent, echoing sentiments prevalent among those who felt aligned with the feminist host. The divisive nature of these findings underscored the ongoing cultural dialogue surrounding femininity and women's empowerment. The polls also highlighted regional differences in opinion. Areas with more progressive leanings tended to show greater support for the feminist host's ideas, while more conservative regions leaned towards Melania's traditional views. This divergence illustrated how deeply personal experiences and cultural backgrounds shape perceptions of women's roles within society, in addition to national polls. There were localized surveys conducted within communities that had hosted discussions in response to the debate. These forums often revealed even more nuanced opinions. Many participants expressed a desire for reconciling both perspectives, recognizing that empowerment can manifest in various forms, whether through embracing traditional motherhood or pursuing professional goals. It's not about choosing one over the other, said a participant from a community forum. Women should be able to celebrate all paths without judgment. As media outlets reported on these poll results, they often featured expert commentary analyzing the implications of public sentiment surrounding the debate. Gender studies scholars weighed in on how these findings reflect broader societal shifts regarding women's identities and expectations. Some experts noted that support for Melania's perspective could signify a backlash against more radical feminist ideologies, while others argued it indicates a growing acceptance of diverse definitions of success among women today. Social media platforms remained abuzz with discussions spurred by the poll results as well. Influencers and activists utilized these findings to further their advocacy efforts, creating content aimed at both sides of the debate. Posts advocating for redefining success gained traction, while others celebrated traditional values, contributing to an ongoing discourse that seemed far from resolution. Moreover, podcasts dedicated to gender issues reported increased listenership following the debate and subsequent polling data release. Hosts engaged their audiences by analyzing trends emerging from public sentiment and invited guests with differing viewpoints to foster deeper conversations around women's empowerment. These discussions revealed an eagerness among listeners for more inclusive dialogues about femininity, suggesting that the fallout from this debate might prompt broader explorations into gender roles moving forward. As conversations continued across various platforms, it became clear that this debate had sparked something significant, a catalyst for reflection on what empowerment means today. The polarized opinions highlighted not just individual preferences, but also collective aspirations for progress. In addressing issues surrounding gender identity and societal expectations, ultimately, the polls served as a reminder of how essential it is for contemporary discourse about women's roles to embrace complexity rather than rely on binary definitions. As viewers reflected on their beliefs shaped by this high-profile exchange between two influential figures, it became increasingly apparent that discussions around femininity cannot simply adhere to established norms, but must instead acknowledge varied journeys towards self-definition and fulfillment. This multifaceted exploration of public opinion signified that while divisions exist, there's also a path toward understanding where diverse perspectives can coexist harmoniously, a realization that could inspire future dialogues aimed at fostering unity amidst differences. The debate would thus be remembered not just for its immediate impact, but also for its potential to provoke continued conversations about empowerment, identity, and womanhood in an evolving world. As the dust settles on the highly publicized debate between Melania Trump and the Feminist host, reflections on Melania's public persona and her historical advocacy for women gain prominence. Throughout her time in the spotlight, Melania has often been viewed through a dual lens, one that oscillates between admiration for her elegance and criticism for her perceived traditionalism. This recent exchange reveals deeper layers of her identity, particularly as it relates to women's empowerment in the contemporary discourse. Melania's advocacy has traditionally centered around children's welfare, exemplified by her Be Best initiative, which sought to raise awareness about issues like bullying and mental health. This focus allowed her to cultivate an image that positioned her as a champion for children's rights, thus garnering admiration from supporters who see value in nurturing and caregiving roles as integral facets of womanhood. However, this representation has also led to scrutiny regarding whether she actively engages with broader feminist discussions or if she remains on the periphery of a more radical female empowerment narrative. During the debate, Melania's calm defense against the feminist host's critiques highlighted her complex relationship with traditional gender roles, while asserting that personal agency allows women to define success according to their own terms. Whether through motherhood or professional ambition, she aimed to bridge gaps between different interpretations of what it means to be empowered. This defense not only sought validation for her choices, but also resonated with viewers who might feel similarly constrained by societal expectations. However, this approach inevitably raises questions about whether Melania's emphasis on traditional roles contributes meaningfully to feminist dialogues or merely reinforces outdated paradigms. Critics argue that by framing nurturing and family as primary aspects of empowerment, Melania risks perpetuating stereotypes about women's capabilities. Their contention lies in the belief that real progress requires breaking free from conventional views of femininity rather than endorsing them. This debate serves as a pivotal moment for Melania's public image, as it underscores her attempt to navigate conflicting identities in a rapidly evolving socio-political landscape. Her assertion that familial roles can coexist with ambition seeks to offer a counter-narrative that highlights choice and personal agency while still aligning with traditional values. Yet this balancing act is fraught with tension. Many perceive such claims as an unwillingness to challenge systems that marginalize women's potential outside of domestic spheres. Moreover, the polarized reactions from the audience during the debate reflect how deeply intertwined personal experiences are with perceptions of empowerment. Supporters of Melania embraced her message, finding strength in her identity as a mother and wife, a narrative they felt affirmatively represented their experiences. In contrast, supporters of the feminist host voiced frustration at Melania's defense, demanding broader definitions of success that include professional achievements alongside personal fulfillment. This dichotomy illustrates the complexities inherent within conversations about women's roles today. This incident ultimately brings forth implications not only for Melania's image, but for broader discussions concerning feminism and gender equality. As someone who occupies a unique space at the intersection of traditional values and contemporary expectations, Melania's navigations provoke reflection on what empowerment looks like across varied contexts. Many are eager to see whether she will lean into her role as a voice for women who embrace all paths or retreat into defending particular narratives that uphold specific norms. In many ways, this incident invites an exploration of how women can celebrate their choices, be it through traditional roles or otherwise, without falling victim to judgment from those who hold contrasting views. The notion that every woman's path deserves validation is vital. It suggests that individuality must flourish even amidst differing expectations shaped by society. As audiences process their reflections shaped by this pivotal exchange between two influential figures, it becomes apparent that discussions surrounding femininity must evolve beyond dichotomous perspectives. They need recognition of diverse journeys towards self-definition and fulfillment that reflect evolving cultural frameworks rather than rigid binaries predicated on historical models alone. The implications stemming from this debate extend far beyond Melania Trump herself. They reflect larger societal shifts that underscore the complexity of navigating identities within rapidly changing landscapes. As such, this high-profile exchange serves not only as an iconic confrontation between two ideologies, but also as a testament to the wider exploration of what it means to be empowered in today's world. A narrative continuing to unfold as conversations around womanhood thrive eternally amidst vibrant disparities woven together through shared experiences. Collectively inclined toward unity rather than division. In essence, Melania Trump's public persona will continue transforming as she engages meaningfully with both traditional values and contemporary challenges posed by feminism. The journey she embarks upon may hold profound significance for aspiring advocates looking for role models who can navigate this delicate balance effectively while advancing broader dialogues that challenge perceptions held widely yet tenderly interconnect across Generations seeking harmonious pathways destined toward discovering honest expressions intrinsic within diverse paths emphasize together every woman's journey forever matters unveiled, brilliantly celebrated. As the debate between Melania Trump and the feminist host reverberates through public consciousness, its implications for future discussions on women's rights and choices become increasingly significant. The confrontation has not only sparked immediate reactions, but may also serve as a cultural touchstone that informs ongoing dialogues about femininity, empowerment, and the diverse paths women take. The lively exchange showcased contrasting ideologies regarding women's roles, Melania advocating for traditional femininity grounded in personal agency and family values, while the feminist host pushed for broader definitions of empowerment that challenge conventional norms. This clash highlights the complexity inherent in discussions about womanhood today, prompting audiences to consider how these narratives intersect and what they mean for the future of women's rights. In many ways, this debate could influence how advocates approach the discourse surrounding women's issues. Advocates for traditional roles may find renewed momentum in Melania's defense of her choices, presenting them as valid representations of empowerment. They might leverage her arguments to promote the idea that women can choose to embrace motherhood and family life without forfeiting their agency or identity. This perspective could lead to greater acceptance of various avenues women pursue in their lives, reinforcing the notion that fulfillment comes in many forms. Conversely, the feminist host challenge may embolden activists who advocate for redefining empowerment beyond traditional frameworks. Her arguments resonate with those who feel marginalized by conservative narratives, encouraging women to pursue professional achievements alongside personal aspirations. This could catalyze a more robust movement advocating for systemic change across sectors, calling attention to the need for equality in leadership roles and professional spaces where women often remain underrepresented. The polarized reactions during and after the debate emphasize a critical turning point in feminist discourse, one that enables conversations about intersectionality and inclusivity. As public sentiment continues to evolve regarding what women's empowerment means, those engaged in advocacy must navigate these complexities with sensitivity and an understanding that women's experiences are not monolithic. Polling data following the debate revealed nearly equal support for both perspectives, indicating a public still grappling with these themes. This division reflects broader societal tensions, but also presents an opportunity for nuanced discussions that can drive progress in addressing women's needs comprehensively. With approximately 52% of respondents supporting Melania's stance and 48% aligning with the feminist host's view on breaking norms, it is clear that there is room for dialogue rather than division. A lesson advocates may take forward that Melania Trump moves beyond this singular incident. Her ability to navigate such conversations will significantly impact her advocacy efforts should she choose to broaden her focus beyond family-centric initiatives and engage more actively with contemporary feminist narratives. It could reshape how she is perceived within these discussions. This may help bridge gaps between traditional values and modern expectations, providing a platform for a more inclusive dialogue about empowerment. Moreover, the way this debate has been covered across media platforms signifies a potential shift in how women's voices are represented in public discourse. Various commentators analyze her performance. They underscore the importance of allowing diverse definitions of success to coexist harmoniously. The legacy of this confrontation may embody a call to action for advocates across the spectrum to unite around shared goals while respecting individual choices, encouraging both empathy and solidarity among women. The implications extend beyond Melania herself. They pave the way for future generations of women as they seek role models who embody multifaceted identities capable of embracing both traditional values and modern aspirations. As discussions regarding gender identity continue to flourish, the need for strong voices willing to challenge norms without sacrificing authenticity becomes crucial. Ultimately, this debate stands as a poignant reminder that conversations around women's rights are far from settled. They are vibrant spaces filled with potential for growth and transformation. IT presents a unique opportunity for all involved to consider their roles within these dialogues critically, fostering an environment where diverse paths toward empowerment are valued. As society navigates these complex landscapes, advocates will need to remain adaptable, recognizing that true progress lies in embracing multiplicity rather than conforming rigidly to established paradigms. In doing so, we open avenues for meaningful conversation about what it means to be empowered today, a legacy worth cultivating for all women moving forward into a dynamic world ripe with possibilities.